WRVS-FM HD1 Elizabeth City State University. From the gridiron to the radio. This is ECSU Football Insider, only on WRVS 89.9.
Yes, fans, we welcome you to another edition of ECSU Football Insider. I am Clay Mercer, and with me is the head coach of ECSU Viking Football, Mr. Adrian Jones. Coach Jones, welcome back to the show, man.
Glad to be back.
Yes, indeed. Well, Coach, let's go back a couple of Saturdays ago to Rocky Mount, the Down East Viking Football Classic, your first one as head coach. Give us your overall observations on your experience and interactions with the many alumni that were there for what we all call a mini homecoming in Rocky Mount.
Not the outcome, definitely, that we wanted. We didn't play good on special teams, offense or defense. It was a great atmosphere. I loved the crowd. It was, like you said, it was almost like homecoming. Yeah. But we had our work cut out for us. We knew that we were going to play against a good Fayetteville State team, but I don't think we responded like we responded the first three games. But it was an eye-opener. We went back to the basics, the fundamentals to get prepared for the next game.
Going back to the game in Rocky Mount, any positives that you can take away from the game against Fayetteville State as you lead into this matchup on Saturday?
I would say on special teams, the block punt for a touchdown was big for us. It kind of gave us a momentum shift, but also it was good teaching tape or what not to do in certain situations. And we learned a lot from watching that film, and it wasn't to hurt anybody's feelings, but sometimes when you lose, you have a lot more to gain. Yeah. And so we're just trying to be a better football team all around.
Yeah, Coach, and when you talk about a classic like the Down East Viking Football Classic, there's always a lot of extra that surrounds the actual game. A lot of hoopla is what I call it. Do you think the hoopla surrounding the game had a negative impact on the team's focus?
Well, a couple coaches said that when we came out that they felt like we were flat, and I looked at it as maybe they were tuned in, but you never know with young men. Maybe they didn't take them seriously, but at the end of the day, we got to be prepared as coaches and to make adjustments and stuff. And like I said, I think that our guys, it hurt them that, we got beat the way we got beat. And then, that bye week was a good bye week, but it also, you're anxious to get back on the field and prove that you're a much better team than what we put out there.
When you look back at the game against Fayetteville State, that 14-0 lead that they had going into the second quarter, it didn't get off to the start, obviously, that you and the coaching staff wanted. But what do you believe went wrong, really, especially in that first quarter for ECSU?
It was no excuses. I heard some of the guys complain about it. It was hot, but Fayetteville State was out there with us. It was hot, the same. I just think that we didn't fight back. I think we kind of. I'm not going to say we quit, but sometimes when you lose and you point the finger and stuff, and we showed some characteristics out there that we hadn't been showing the first three games. Yeah. So, like I said, back to basics. That's what you inherit a team that is trying to learn how to win, and that's my job, is to teach them how to win football games and learn how to keep the momentum going and stuff. So it's a big process. It's not all about winning. It's about learning and strategizing how to finish football games.
Obviously, the start of the game may have shocked a few of the players, especially the ones who, first three games of the season, this is not the way ECSU has played. Okay. So who are the leaders on the team, or some of those players that you depend on just to kind of get the team back focused, and the ones that you expect to step up in those moments?
Well, it starts with our trigger man, Chris Perkins. He's not a very vocal guy, but at some point in time he has to be a vocal guy because our guys look up to him. Kyle Laurent, who's our starting right tackle. Sterling Chavis is in our secondary. He's an older guy. He's familiar with our defense. His high school coach, me and him were on the same staff at North Carolina Central, so he kind of knows what we want to do. But, a couple guys like him wasn't playing well, and we took them out and put freshmen in front of them to show them, like, okay, you have to do everything right, and I think he took it the right way. He went back and self-evaluated himself and came back and said, Coach, I understand why you took me out because I wasn't doing what you asked us to do. Yeah. So that's what leadership does right there. There's several other leaders, but I have to be a better coach at making adjustments and learning our kids and probably trying to change up some things when things are not going well for us. But we haven't quit on our guys, and our guys haven't quit on us. We've had great practices, and just look forward to getting back on the field and creating this brand that we're trying to create.
What were the Broncos, what did they do differently that you were able to see that may have caused some issues for us in the game?
I think they were very prepared. Me and Coach Hayes are good friends, and at the beginning of the game, we used to sit at the 50-yard line and talk and joke a little bit. He shook my hand and said, I'll talk to you after the game. And I knew right then and there that he was prepared. He had his guys ready. And we talked about it. I've been playing Coach Hayes for the last 8 years, and out of those 8 years, 7 of those years, they were in the championship game. So the record that they had didn't dictate who they are. Yeah. They still got championship pedigree, and I knew that going into the game that they had something to prove. They're not a bad football team. We knew that, but we just didn't play the way we supposed to play to compete.
Yeah, understood. I'm sure you and the team have watched and reviewed the film more than once probably. What are one or two things that stood out the most to you from the game?
Big plays. We big plays on defense. We gave up too many big plays, blown assignments. Offensively, we didn't run the ball well. And if you run the ball well, you throw the ball well. We just didn't do well at moving the ball and churning the clock. And that's how we become a good football team, when we can control the clock and our offense is getting first downs and flipping the field. We didn't do any of that. Flipping the field meaning putting them on the minus and giving us a chance to have a shorter field to try to score touchdowns.
When you talk about that offensively, we just weren't as efficient as we have been throughout the season. We had a difficult time moving the ball, as you just spoke about, and consistently. Talk about some of those difficulties that you noticed throughout the game.
Well, it was just a lack of focus. We go over stuff and we prepare for the football games, and sometimes the kids are not locked in and doing what we ask them to do. And we just got to do a better job of being motivators. I self-evaluate myself. I probably need to be a better cheerleader, meaning that being exciting when they make plays on the field, show a little bit more excitement so they can lead, so they can follow my lead. So it ain't all about just what the kids are doing. You have to self-evaluate yourself as a coach and do what's best for your kids to perform and get them to the level that you want them to play.
Yeah, I think you've been a pretty good cheerleader. I've seen you on the sideline get animated when you need to, but I can understand what you're saying from that. And so we also earlier in these shows talked about how tough the schedule is for ECSU. And it doesn't get much easier, obviously, but you can definitely see the toughness of this team come through. The team's morale coming out of the Down East Viking Football Classic, what is it right now?
Well, we're competitors. They are confident coach breeds confident players, and there's no doubt that I'm a confident coach. I could care less what people think about what we look like right now, but our kids believe that they're a good football team. And when we win a football game, it's going to become contagious. Right now, it's hard to adjust to losing, but I've been here before. I know what it takes to win, and our coaching staff has worked so hard at watching film with our guys more, back to the basics and individual drills, being creative with that stuff, and those indie drills go to the game performance. And I think that we have done an excellent job of putting the best product on the field. We learned that some of our starters can't play the whole game, so those backups are very important to us to be good. So we got to be confident in being able to take out some of our starters for 2 or 3 plays, dispel them, so they can be the best person they can be to win a football game.
Coming out of that game, obviously, you've had conversations with the players, but I wonder what some of the conversations have been like between you and the coaching staff. What if some of the things that you all have talked about that you may be able to do better, and some of the things that you all saw that you want to kind of enhance in order to make this team successful the way you want them to be?
Well, offensively, got to be a little bit more creative. We got to get it to our playmakers and a lot quicker. We self-evaluate ourselves and see if we have any tendencies. Whether you're a right-handed offensive coordinator or a left-handed offensive coordinator, you have to, sometimes you have a Mo's and Joe's and you can say, I don't care, you know where I'm going, but you can't stop it. But we got to be a lot more creative. We got to continue to not give up the big plays on defense, and we got to be special on special teams. And like I said, I don't think that we did good at any of those facets of the football game, but we have really honed in on these 2 weeks of taking advantage of being a better, precise football team and getting out this week and getting a jump on the team and getting some confidence and see how that works for us.
I know the days leading up to the game, practice was pretty good, I'm sure, and the players were excited. How surprised were you with the way that the game went, the outcome of it? How surprised were you with what you saw out there on the field?
I was very surprised how our character was out there. Sometimes bad things happen and people want to point the finger, but you got to understand that people see that in the stands, and I was very disappointed in our guys with that. But I still love them. Yeah. I'm still going to coach them up. It's my leadership to make sure that they are guided the right way, and it's a reason why I'm here. It's more to winning football games. It's a process of learning how to be a champ. And at the end of the day, our back's against the wall, and we got to figure out how to fight back and win those close games, or win get a convincing win. Either way, we just want a W. Yeah,
4 games in, Coach. Do you believe this team has found out who they are and identified their true identity, or you feel like we're still trying to figure it out?
I think we have found out our identity as far as who we are, like defensive wise. Instead of playing 11 guys, we have about 28 guys that we're going to rotate in. And I think that's going to make us a better football team with like I was talking about earlier, about the conditioning side, giving guys a chance to come to the sideline, get some water, refresh and get back out there and be the best version of them as they can be. Offensive wise, we know that we got to speed the tempo up. We make big plays. We got to be able to have a call ready to go. We got to run the ball well. We got to get Traquan Johnson rolling early, and got to get Chris Perkins some confidence. Some throws that he can make, some completions and give him confidence. And we also talked about him. He didn't do a good job of tucking the ball and running. He stayed in the pocket a little bit too long, and defenses fear guys that can run, and we challenge him to, whenever that nothing's open, tuck and run.
As you look at the team right now and the makeup of the team and what you've seen in these first few games, what are some of the things that you've learned about this team specifically, and even yourself within these first 4 games? And give us a few things that you want to improve on, really, as a coach and as a team.
Well, our kids really do want to win football games. There's no doubt that they don't want to win football games. And we saw that we got some leadership. And I think that when we lost that game, we got back on home on Monday and we had practice. It's funny that you would have thought that we had won the game. It was, you could hear a penny drop on the ground. It was quiet during the stretch lines, and I asked my coaches, I said, did any of y'all tell them not to talk? And they was like, nah, coach. So I think it was a player-driven thing to focus on the day, because we're only in helmets on Mondays, and sometimes the focus will be a little bit off, but it was an outstanding practice, and it trickled on the rest of the week. And our leadership stepped up, and I think that that is key, leadership stepping up. And a lot of times everybody want to place the blame on coaches, but I don't think they did that. They looked at self-evaluated themselves and starting to be young men and being accountable for the mistakes that they make. And I'm just proud that those guys are learning from us. And like I said, I'm anxious to get on the field on Saturday to see how we respond.
Being anxious is understandable because you've had an extra week to prepare for this game. Give us an idea of what practice looks like, and are there any changes when you have a bye week like this in order to have the team ready to go for Saturday?
A lot of conditioning, a lot of film study on the opponent, a lot of tests, giving guys tests. Okay, who's their best receiver? How many times their best receiver touched the ball? Making them go watch film. In this day and age, we got all this technology, but what's funny is back when I was playing, we were demanded to watch film. These guys don't watch film, so we have to, 1, watch it with them, and 2, also give them assignments so they go and watch the film. So we got to outsmart them. But the practices were great. We had plenty of time to focus on what we do fundamentally, and I think the preparation is key. And once again, self-evaluation is key. You can't always have that big head and think that you always know what's right. And then you also call some of your mentors and ask, what can you do to implement? So we implemented some competitions in practice. We had like a shuttle. We had a Traquan Johnson and Trey, linebacker Trey, do a shuttle drill. They raced in a shuttle. Then they had a goal line drill where whoever scores, the defense runs. A whole lot of competition and being creative to make sure that those guys are competitive. And then we also had some good-on-good sessions where our first offense was against our defense, and we put them in situations. 3rd and goal, they get a first down, they get a touchdown, defense got to run, or whatever, vice versa. So just giving some situations that we have been in games and implement that so that when it comes that we're prepared for.
Yeah, it goes back to you saying you want this team to be the best conditioned team in the conference. And so that probably helped out a little bit when you had an extra week of conditioning that they needed. Coach, this team, again, is continuing to grow. And when you just talked about it, it's very interesting to me that a lot of times they don't understand the reviewing of the film, the classroom aspect of it. But it seems like you give them tests and things of that nature. And I don't think some people really understand how important that part of it is, too.
Yeah, it's very important because when they get on the field, they are throwing the ball, they're running the ball, they're tackling, but we only can prepare them for what they're going to see, and I think that, sometimes as a quarterback, we put a lot on Chris. We think that Chris can lead our offense, and as an offensive coordinator, Coach has to step back and is like, Coach, I know we're making good calls, but we may have to signal in where we want him to throw the ball, to get him in a groove, and then once he gets in a groove, we'll let him kind of dissect the defense and look at other situations. But it's all about, once again, it's all about self-evaluating and trying our best to be the best version of Elizabeth City football as we can.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll be able to see that this Saturday here at Roebuck Stadium. Down East Viking Football Classic is done, and now the Vikings get ready to move on to another big conference matchup. We'll preview that matchup for you and talk a little bit with Coach Jones about what's to come for ECSU football. All of that's on the way. Keep it right here on ECSU Football Insider.
Get your tickets now for ECSU football online at ECSUVikings.com.
It's Peter Sagal. Congress has ended federal funding for public media, but this station's best bet has always been you. Take control of the station's future. Become a sustaining member today. Here's how.
Use your credit or debit card online at WRVS899.com and support what you love today.
You're ready to become a scholar. It's time for you to earn your bachelor's or master's degree. At Elizabeth City State University, we're proud of our strong academic programs. We offer 28 bachelor degrees and 4 master's degrees. ECSU also offers flexible online courses to help you achieve your goals. Start the process today. Call 800-347-3278 or find us online at ecsu.edu.
Let's get back to ECSU Football Insider online at WRVS899.com.
Back here for ECSU Football Insider, Clay Mercer with ECSU Football head coach Adrian Jones. And, Coach, this Saturday, I know you've been chomping at the bit. The Vikings are ready to get back out there on the field, and they'll be in the friendly confines of Roebuck Stadium for what should be a big-time matchup with Livingstone. Should be a great crowd here on hand. It's Viking Showcase, and I know we got a lot of prospective students and families that will be here on the campus, and they'll be able to come over to the game and support the Vikings for what should be an electric atmosphere this Saturday.
Yeah, we're back at the Buck, and we got to defend it. And I'm excited about it. Our coach has been on the road recruiting. We got some recruits coming this weekend to see what the atmosphere looks like, and we want nothing more than to win a football game. I think our guys are prepared. We've been excited about getting to this week. It's been a long 2 weeks, but we're getting closer and closer to this football game, and it's just ready to show ready for our guys to prove that they're much better than what we have put out there.
Yeah, Livingstone comes in with a 3-1 record, and you can't just sniff at that. That is something that you have to keep in mind. Coach, I know you've done the film review. You and the staff have talked about it. Give us an idea of what we're expecting from Livingstone when they make their way here to Elizabeth City on Saturday.
They're a feisty football team, man. Their coach has them playing football. They believe in their coach. You can see it. The quarterback scrambles and what we call a scramble drill. Whenever he scrambles, the receivers respond and try to get open. Those are some of the things that we have worked on this week, making sure that we don't give up the big plays. But we look forward to it. We control our own destiny, man. We got 6 more games, and we're still in it. we're not going to talk about it. It's just one game mentality, and we'll see what it looks like at the end of the year. But we still have a chance.
Yeah. You've talked about the feistiness and the toughness of Livingstone. Is this one of the games that will definitely test ECSU's toughness, even here at home?
Yes, we definitely got to showcase our toughness. We got to just no different than when John C. Smith came to the book, even though we didn't finish the game. But we got to start off at the beginning. If we get the ball, we got to go down the field and score. If we on defense, we got to 3 and out, make them punt, and then get the ball and score. Yeah. So we really have a good game plan. It's just making sure that we execute it to the best of our abilities, and we're a better football team when our crowd is in the game. And we want to keep them loud, we want to keep them proud, and we want to keep that band playing them drums and everything when we score points.
Don't want to give up too many key nuggets to the game, but obviously coming off of the Down East Viking Football Classic, you like to get the run game started. I noticed you like to establish that first, and you talked about some changes that will be made. Is there anything that you can give us where we might see a difference, even offensively, defensively? Is there anything that we can expect to see?
No, we'll do a rotation on defense. We'll have some guys that rotate on defense, and as well as our offense, keeping guys fresh. Yeah. Traquan Johns, keep talking about him. It's no secret, but he going to touch the ball. Yeah. And he's had a heck of a practice this week and the week before. He's not a very vocal leader, but on communicating with the guys, about winning football games, he's ready. Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does this week. And when you practice well, you're going to play well. Yeah. I'm a firm believer in that. And I think as a whole, we've practiced well. But just watching Traquan run the ball this week, and not on him, but the other running backs behind him, Braswell, Staley, those guys have complimented him. So I'm looking forward to a great run game. And when you can run the ball well, that opens up the pass.
Yeah, it's going to be a battle at the Buck this Saturday, ECSU versus Livingstone. We want you to come out. It'll be Viking Showcase. It should be a great crowd on hand, and we want you to be a part of that crowd. So tickets are right now on sale online at ECSUVikings.com, and live radio coverage of the game will begin right around 12:30, and you can listen to it worldwide online at WRVS899.com, as well as with the TuneIn app. Coach, we've come to the end of this one. I want you to take the microphone, talk to the Viking faithful, and get them ready for this Saturday.
Viking faithfuls, we want you to still stand by us at Elizabeth City State University. Our football team is working very hard. We know we have let you guys down, but don't think at all that we're not trying to win football games. We have an exciting brand of football. We just have to continue to chop at the bit and trust the process. And there's light at the tunnel, and I'm looking forward to that first W.
Yeah, well, family, if you missed out on any parts of today's show, or you want to catch up on past episodes, just go to the WRVS 899 YouTube channel, as well as the WRVS Podcast Network, and listen anytime. We thank you all for joining us for ECSU Football Insider. I'm Clay Mercer, and Coach Jones, thank you so much for making this happen. We'll catch up with you next week.
Always. Thank you for having me.
ECSU Football Insider is produced at WRVS Studios on the campus of Elizabeth City State University, powered by the ECSU Department of Radio and Television Services. Learn more online at WRVS899.com.